Alright, I am told I have to get with the times and start doing some video blogs. So we're going to do this first one from my car because I feel very weird about talking into my phone and staring at my own face and listening to my own voice. So I'm going to do my best, bear with me. I'm here today to talk to you about coffee. Coffee is my favorite thing in the entire world. But before I do that, can we talk about this horse shit for a second? It's the end of April. It is blizzarding outside, and it's supposed to snow at least until the middle of tomorrow, and probably we're going to wake up tomorrow morning and it'll look like Christmas outside. It'll be great. Happy spring. Now, I've done that quintessentially Canadian bitching about the weather, so now I'm going to talk to you about coffee. So, I'm going to preface this by saying that I really like to test out a lot of the health and fitness tracking apps out there so that I can kind of play around with them and recommend a wide variety of them if I'm asked, which happens fairly often. So one of them that I've been using for the past 3 or so weeks has these little weekly challenges, one for fitness and one for nutrition. They're designed to be doable for everyone, regardless of their fitness level, like go for a brisk 20-minute walk 3 times this week, or drink 2 liters of water every day. Generally good stuff. Simple, predictable, sustainable. So imagine my surprise when the challenges last week appeared to me straight out of the 1980s. On 3 days this week, try going without your morning coffee and cigarettes and drink a glass of water instead. And clean your house vigorously for at least 2 hours this weekend to get your heart rate up. I stared slack-jawed at my phone for a minute, wondering how to react, and then I did what any normal person would do, and I took a screenshot of it and I posted it on social media because what a load of archaic, ridiculous nonsense. But it's still bothering me, so clearly we need to dig into this a little bit further. So to get rid of the chaff first, clean my house vigorously for 2 hours. I'm terrible at housework and I have zero desire to be better at it. My house is cluttered, it's cozy, it's clean enough to live in, still embarrassing when people drop by, and that's as good as it's going to get because I have better things to do. And ditch the morning cigarettes, well, that's great advice and all, but I have never smoked, so it's not really a stretch. Now, go without coffee. That recommendation deserves more than a nope and an eye roll because, holy balls, do not come between me and my coffee at any time of day, but especially in the morning. Coffee is my favorite thing in the whole world, and it's the antidote to most of life's problems. Threaten my access to coffee in the morning, and you will be faced with a teary, wild-eyed old woman who can shoot flames out of her eyeballs. So, listen to me very closely, app developers. Don't even with that bullshit. But, aside from my very overly emotional reaction to the suggestion that I'd be better off without my coffee in the morning, it's just dumb, because drinking coffee isn't bad for you. I get it, though. There's a virtual shit ton of misinformation out there. And all the zealots and quacks and trolls can spin whatever idiocy they want to in order to make themselves look more virtuous on the internet. More virtuous anyway than me, because I need my fix in the morning. So to write this post, I dug up as much legitimate science as I could so that I could deliver a nice, hot, steaming cup of truth without any added sugar or flavoring. Because I can't possibly talk about coffee and its associated risks and benefits without first emphasizing that what we're talking about here is coffee. Plain ass hot bean juice without sugar or cream or butter or syrup or whatever other garbage you want to pollute it with, because that's a crime. Good quality coffee is perfect just the way it is. And if you don't buy good quality coffee and you end up with this motley sack of moldy ground sawdust, dirt, ashes, dog food, and whatever else mixed in, I don't feel sorry for you because you get what you pay for, you cheapskates. And that crap combined with whatever you mix into it to make it palatable is what gives coffee a bad rap. So knock it off, okay? Invest in some good coffee beans and see what you've been missing. Alright? Still with me? Alright, so moving on. According to the studies that I read, and I'm not going to cite them all here properly because I'm lazy, but if you want to look at any of them, fire me a DM and I'll send you the links. Anyway, regular coffee consumption both increases and decreases the risk of heart disease, hypertension, obesity, type 2 diabetes, depression, anxiety, suicide risk, and finally, lifespan and all-cause mortality. This only points to the following conclusion. People are messy, complicated, unpredictable animals, and long-term controlled studies are hard. I would further suggest that probably any indications that coffee increases the risk of obesity in the beatus are skewed either by adding sugar and cream and whatever other stuff to coffee, and the subject's other lifestyle factors. Because black coffee or espresso or cafe americano or any other unadulterated coffee has almost no calories. The point is, though, that you could look at one study that has a small sample size and imperfect parameters and draw just about any conclusion that you wanted to. So, moving on from there. Some cons to drinking coffee, and yes, there are health risks associated with caffeine use and drinking too much coffee, are poor sleep, headaches, migraines, higher instances of gout flare-ups, decreased collagen production, and incontinence. All of these are due to excess caffeine consumption. We can't forget that caffeine is a powerful stimulant, and although most people can tolerate a little bit of it pretty easily, let's not forget that every individual is a special snowflake, and thresholds can differ. It's also good to consider your other caffeine sources, such as energy drinks, colas, pre-workout, etc., and monitor your total caffeine intake. Generally, anything over 600 milligrams of caffeine a day is not awesome for you. Still, another caution is that caffeine has a half-life of about 6 hours in our bodies. So, if you're feeling a little droopy and knock back a double shot of espresso at 2 p.m., double shot of espresso has anywhere between 100 and 212 milligrams of caffeine, depending on the roast and the origin. At 8 p.m., you will have metabolized half of that caffeine. So that little pat on the ass that you get from your afternoon pick-me-up can bite you on the ass when you're trying to get to bed at a reasonable time. Now, let's talk about what's awesome about coffee. If you're not planning on going to sleep anytime soon, coffee is fucking great. If you have an average caffeine tolerance, a cup or two of coffee in the morning can help you feel energized. It boosts your cognitive function, athletic performance, and it bumps up your base metabolic rate considerably. Hard numbers were really different across all of the different studies that I read, but anywhere between 11 and 29%. Regular coffee consumption is associated with lower risks of Alzheimer's disease, Parkinson's disease. It also packs a surprising nutritional punch, delivering anywhere between 2 and 20% of your RDI of vitamins B2, B3, and B5, as well as manganese and potassium. One article even went as far as to suggest that coffee is the single greatest source of antioxidants in the typical North American diet, which is great, but it's also horrifying because it speaks to the quality of our diet, but also that title should belong to vegetables and fruit. So, for the love of goats, eat your veggies and don't rely on coffee for everything. It does lots for you, but it can't do all the jobs. Finally, coffee's delicious. If you're one of those troglodytes who thinks that coffee tastes terrible and only orders coffee when you have to go into Starbucks and ask for a tall blonde because you think it's hilarious and you think it might make the barista uncomfortable, that's fine. You go and do that and enjoy your green tea. It just means that there's more coffee for the rest of us who appreciate it. But there's no point in ditching coffee for health's sake. That's just dumb. Don't do it.